Hello, I'm Jonathan Sutherland, and this is the Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views, and analysis that you need on Monday, the 1st of December. And Martin O'Neill's Celtic are now only 2 points behind Hearts.
Saying cheerio is not a major issue for me. You know, I'll say cheerio when the board say, listen, everything's done and dusted, and I will fine and I will drop away and I'll be happy to do so.
But for how much longer will he be in charge at Celtic? As for Rangers, they stutter to another draw against Falkirk.
Oh, it's full time. It's a familiar sound around Ibrox this season. A chorus of boos to greet another disappointing result for the home side.
Rangers' 7th draw of the season as Falkirk stay in the top 6. And the big guns have entered the Scottish Cup, and there is no doubt at all about the big story.
Number 5,
Auchinleck Talbot.
Number 8.
Number 8, he will take on Celtic. What a tie that is.
What's that tie?
We will fill you in on all of the weekend action.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sports Scotland.
I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Jackie McNamara and Andy Halliday. We're recording this straight after doing Sunday Sports Scene, and I think we're still reeling a little bit, Jackie, and trying to process exactly what it's going to look like at Beechwood, the home of Auchinleck Talbot, as they host Celtic in mid-January. It's pretty sensational, isn't it?
It's a fantastic draw for them. You know, I think that's the beauty of the Cup. They managed to, you know, some of their players will have dreamt about playing in the Scottish Cup against teams like Celtic and Rangers, and especially at their home ground as well. It'll be a special occasion for them.
Andy, 4,000 the capacity at Beechwood. I mean, it's going to be the hottest ticket in town. I think there's only 500 seats at Beechwood. I should know this off the top of my head because we did Derby earlier in the season as they beat Cumnock Juniors. But it's just, this is what the Scottish Cup is all about. We were hoping for an exciting draw because we did quite a mundane draw actually in the rehearsal, Aidan and I. We thought, that's quite dull. But then Aidan obviously pulls the balls out of the jar, and it is Auchinleck Talbot versus Celtic. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and listen, you kept the mundane one for the rehearsal, which is perfect because there was certainly no shortage of drama with the draw we got. And listen, I think the Auchinleck Talbot owners will be trying to get as much planning permission done for now to January as they can. Because like he says, there'll be plenty of people trying to get their hands on that ticket to go to that game. To me, it's absolutely fantastic. You know, Auchinleck Talbot have got a rich history. I can't actually remember if they've played Celtic or if they have, how many times, but I can assure you it won't be many. And for some of these players, it might only be their only chance to play in such a historic game for a football club. So absolutely fantastic. And you know, I must say, I let off a wee smile when the draw came out for them because it's brilliant.
They're not going to move this match, do you feel, Jackie? I mean, it'll be a money spinner for them, whatever happens. But would you like to see them stay at Beechwood? There's no chance they're going to try and move it to maybe a bigger stadium. We'd need to speak to them, obviously, but would you like to see it take place on their home turf?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. You know, these places they're horrible from the Celtic point of view as a player. As I said, you're in a hide into nothing, going down to this little pitch, and it's intimidating with the fans round you. You know, they'll want every advantage they can get, and playing at home and what they're used to will definitely help that. It's really interesting as well after today's match when Martin O'Neill basically said in fact before the Hibs match actually today, it looks like he will be staying on for another match for Celtic at home to Dundee midweek. And then after that, everybody's assuming Wilfred Nancy will come in, and it's then Hearts for Celtic. They've got Roma, and then they've got the League Cup final. Yeah. I mean, it's a baptism of fire. And then now Wilfred Nancy's got to think about Auchinleck Talbot as well. He has, and you know, normally when you're changing manager, it's because the team's not been doing well or the last manager's been sacked or gone. Martin's done a fantastic job stepping in after Brendan. You know, I think it's 6 out of 7 he's won. He's taken them back into touching distance with Hearts. One of their best performances they've had in Europe for a few seasons, in my opinion, away at Feyenoord. And, you know, it's a big gamble for the club to make that change, you know, at this stage, because, you know, the important games coming up, the European games, Cup final, you know, that's the things that dictate your season, how the season goes. If you can win the cup final, it sets you up, takes the pressure off the rest of the season in the league. As I said, they've closed the gap in Hearts and putting a bit of pressure on them. Then the Scottish Cup coming up, for a new manager coming in to try and see what players he's got to work with and, you know, get his right formation, how he wants to implement his playing style. I think it's a big decision for the club, a big gamble at this stage after Brendan.
Well, he mentioned that there's something to do with the paperwork being held up. I think the Celtic fans have got a hold of it and stuck it in a drawer somewhere, because I always think when there's an interim appointment, you know, how often have we seen an interim appointment come in, do extremely well and then get offered the job? I think Celtic board, you know, think that Martin O'Neill at 73, does he have the appetite to take it on a permanent basis? But I think the Celtic board would potentially even be shocked at how well he's done. Because I think he's came in, he got an instant reaction for Brendan Rodgers. It was a week later they played in the League Cup semi-final against Rangers, they won that. You look at the last 3 games that they've had going into this week, St Mirren away, which has been a difficult venue for everyone up and down the country. Feyenoord on Thursday, and then no other than Easter Road today. And, you know, Jackie, you'll probably know better than me, but I can't remember having watched Scottish teams in Europe, Celtic play as well as that away from home in European football for a long time. So I must admit, I'm a wee bit surprised that Martin O'Neill's not got to at least the League Cup final, because it's a really tough opening 3 games that Nancy's got, and he's not going to have a lot of time on the training pitch to try and get it right before it as well.
Would you have liked to see that, Jackie? Martin O'Neill taking it until the League Cup final?
Absolutely. I think he kind of deserved it. As I said, that even the fans, you see the fans at the game, how they take to him. I think Martin's box office, you know, we were talking about earlier, when he comes on, regardless of how the games went before the game, he's doing the media, you want to listen to him. And as a player in his dressing room, it was the same. You know, you hung on his word. He would capture you when you come into the changing room, how he put you across, he made you feel fantastic and out. And that's what these players have been needing. You know, when Brendan's left, to come in a steady hand. So to change that again so quickly, in an important time of the season, I have to say, you know, he's a steady pair of hands that they need to now, and it brings that gap between the fans and the board. You know, there's a lot of ill feeling towards the board at this stage.
Sure.
So if Nancy comes in at the start and doesn't hit the ground running, it's only going to, you know, amplify the kind of feeling towards the board, and making that change rather than sticking with that. It is a big decision for the club.
Yeah, Martin O'Neill, so much charisma, obviously. It is great listening to him, no question of it. Just to go back to the Auchinleck Talbot thing briefly, do you really see that being a potential... It would be the biggest Scottish Cup shock of all time, wouldn't it, Jackie? I mean...
It would be, yeah. It would be, I think. You know, I was to Andy there. I remember Hearts went down there. I remember watching a few years ago, and Hearts went down to play there. But Hearts handled the occasion really well, you know, because these, as I said, I went, had a brief spell at Partick Thistle, had a horrible tie away to Cooter in the Cup, you know, and the pitch is there, and the players are not used to that, and it can get the better of them if they're not up for it. You need to be up for the game, you need to do things professionally and see the game, the mentality of it. But the Celtic players have been through it all, you know, the pressure every week. They're expected to win, and they've handled it well over the years. But these wee places, not many of them have experienced it like that, going down to Auchinleck.
I think you're sounding a bit worried, Jackie. What do you think, Andy? How much... It sounds kind of ridiculous, but no, the question has to be asked because it's a game of football. How much chance do Auchinleck Talbot have here, would you say?
Yeah, I don't know about the greatest shock in Scottish Cup history, maybe the greatest shock in world football history, but listen, like you says, it's a badge on a jersey. Celtic have got the better players, there's no doubt about it, but you know, miracles have happened in football before, so one thing's for sure, no, regardless if you're an Auchinleck fan, a Celtic fan, or a fan of football, you'll be tuning in to watch it, because like you says, this is what you want to watch it. That, you know, like I says, played against Auchinleck in 2018. You know, 5-0 on paper looks like a comfortable scoreline, but it wasn't. No, when I was at Rangers, we played Fraserburgh away as well, and I'll never forget first couple of minutes of ball dropping in the middle of the pitch, and this rough and ready Highlander put me 18 feet in the air, and that was it. Welcome to Fraserburgh. Again, 1-3-0, but it wasn't an easy game whatsoever. So the fact of the matter is, this is going to be the biggest night and the biggest day of some of these players for Auchinleck Talbot's career, so they're going to leave everything on the pitch, and I'm not going to make it easy for Celtic, but you've got to think that Celtic have got more than enough to get through it.
It's quite incredible. Probably should ask you, Andy, in terms of your Motherwell side as well, you've been drawn at home to Ross County. Happy with that?
Yeah. I think you always want a home tie. Give yourself the best opportunity to go through to the next round. I think Fir Park's been a really good venue for us this year. Obviously, to continue to the next round as well, you want to try and avoid your Rangers, Celtics, Hearts, and even though we'd fancy a chance against anyone this year, I certainly don't think there's any doubt that we're the favourites going into this tie. Ross County actually last season was a really difficult fixture for us. We had a couple of really poor results and performances against them, and obviously they've had a bit of their own struggles this year. Changing manager, obviously since Tony Docherty's went in there. Their performances and the results have been a little bit mixed. But they've managed to keep on to some key players that they had last year. Ronan Hale still scoring a lot of goals for them, so they'll pose their threats as well. But I do think it's a good draw for us.
Elsewhere in the draw, the holders Aberdeen are at home to Raith Rovers, which catches the eye. Dunfermline Athletic as well, Jackie, your former club, at home to Hibs. Do you fancy the Pars to cause an upset there?
I think it's a good draw for them. Hibs will bring a good support there. Lenny going up against his old team as well.
Yep.
I think they'll quietly be think they can cause an upset there, definitely. Neil will have them well fired up. I actually watched them yesterday against Queen of the South and I was really impressed with them.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rangers as well. They've been drawn at home against Annan Athletic. It was a bit of a dreary watch, let's be honest, Andy. We were all watching it, the match at Ibrox. Falkirk certainly merited their point, and John McGlynn felt maybe his Falkirk side could have done better as well. But you've gone into it chapter and verse on Sports Scene this evening, just about the lack of quality, and Danny Rowe talked about it a little bit post-match as well. And how do you sum up where Rangers are at right this second?
Yeah, well, I done Braga on Thursday for you guys, and I was speaking to the guys on the night there, and I think Danny Rose had a lot of credit for coming in and going 4 for 4 in the league for Rangers. But I said at the time, I don't think that the performances within the 4 wins were sustainable to keep winning games. I look at the Livingston game, I thought they were poor. I thought Livingston should have had a penalty on the day to put them 2-1 up. If that was the case, would Rangers have won the game? Obviously, it remains to be seen. I think the performances in the 4 games is clouded because they've managed to get it over the line and get the results. And I'm a massive believer that if you perform well on a weekly basis, the results will come. And I felt like a result of that today was coming for Rangers. And like you says, I thought the quality in the game was extremely poor. I think defensively, over the course of the season, Rangers will look very suspect. I think in the top end of the pitch, they don't look as if they've got a natural goal scorer. And then the lack of creativity throughout the team. I think there's been games where they just don't look like scoring. I really don't. I think Thursday against Braga as well, albeit a step in class in opposition, I don't think they look like scoring throughout the 90 minutes in that game either. They obviously get the opportunity through a corner coming into the box and a defender having his arm outstretched, so they get the chance for a penalty to score a goal. And then today, 2 best chances of the game. Tello Asgard comes from a direct corner. And then the next best chance was probably Gassama that comes for a counter-attack. But when teams are actually set up in a well-organised shape, Rangers are finding it very, very difficult to break them down. And I think a big part of that is obviously due to the poor recruitment that they had in the summer.
Sure. I want to get to your stats in a second, just about the strikers. In terms of the matches coming up for Rangers, Jackie, before Christmas, it looks difficult. It starts with Dundee United away on Wednesday night, then it's Kilmarnock away, and then Ferencvaros away in Europe, obviously, and then it's Rangers at home against Hibs on Monday the 15th of December, and then their last match before Christmas is away against Hearts at Tynecastle.
Yeah.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's a tough, yeah. As I said, the main concern would be the creativity. I think he's come in there and you're looking to see what his identity is, what system he's going to play, how expansive he's going to be. I think he's come in there and the first thing he's thought is they're quite open, lost a lot of goals maybe between, over attacking teams or down the side of the centre-backs. And he's come in and put a structure in place. But in that, you're trying to see what his game is. How's he going to win games? They don't seem to get in behind him. We're talking about the goals that they had last year, but there's there doesn't seem to be anybody going in behind. Nobody taking, maybe it's confidence or lack of quality. I don't know, but there just seems to be really, really lacking in the creativity side, and that would be the main worry. You know, especially at home. Rangers at home, you know, against Falkirk, you know, as the game was going on, you're thinking there's only one winner here, and it'd be Falkirk, because their lack of ideas or even just having that bravery. When you play Rangers and Celtic, you need to be brave. You need to, rather looking around the pitch, look for somebody to take control or make something happen. Today, you know, I think the only one was Ben Rami, the only one that was capable of trying to do something or having that bravery to take people on, but the rest of them, I thought they kind of played within themselves. Yeah, indeed. I saw a stat, Andy, that said it was 1937 the last time Rangers played Falkirk at home and failed to score. And we need to hear your strikers' stats, because you rolled them out on Sports Scene this evening and you got them in your little black book. In fact, you probably know them off the top of your head, don't you, in terms of the comparison between last season's goal scorers and this season's? Yeah, well, the reason I thought it was relevant was because the three players that I mentioned last year, I think the big one being Cyril Dessers, was a player that Rangers fans were desperate to get rid of. They felt as if they needed an improvement at the top end of the pitch. San Francisco 49ers Enterprises came in and seriously invested in this playing squad, and there was a net spend of £20 million, and the replacements to Dessers, Czerny and Igaman, who contributed 63 goals towards Rangers last year, was replaced by Oliver Antman, Miovski and Chermiti for an upworth of £15 million, who have contributed 3 goals, and we're now in the 1st of December. It's incredible, So that three need to make up 60 goals from now to the end of the season to replace what was there last year. And Jonathan, I'm not using that as just a slight on the individuals. I think the individuals are a step below in class than what we've seen last year. But again, it highlights the lack of creativity that they've got behind them. Danny Rowe's been he's been in for a decent amount of time now to see some form of patterns, and I think he's done really well in winning games with this group of players. But I still think he's really struggling to really nail down a style and identity that he wants this Rangers team to be in possession. I agree with Jackie. I think they've slightly improved out of possession. I think they look more solid, a lot harder to beat. I think they're a lot more aggressive now, the press teams. But in possession, again today, it seems as if they really lack ideas to break teams down. Bit of a rudderless ship at Rangers right now. Obviously, Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell have gone out the door. Obviously, it's hugely important that they get replacements in. And soon, Jackie, with the January transfer window just round the corner. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things to be sorted. Players to come in, players to go out. This is the manager's, obviously, he is the one that picks the teams and stuff, what he has to work with just now, but he needs somebody to bounce off, and he'll know what he needs for January to come in. January, I think, is always a difficult month because unless you're going to spend big money, you're not going to get the players you really want because it's going to cost a lot of money to get them out. If they're doing well, you're going to more tend to get ones that are struggling or maybe a different league where the leagues come into that break. So it's a big call for Rangers to get things done quickly. The chief exec coming in, head of recruitment coming in. It's so important that these things are done right, as we've seen in the summer. It's been a lot of mistakes made. It's a bit gloomy for Rangers right now. Let's end this on a high, though, Andy, because Aberdeen got the victory this weekend, and it was 1-0. But let's think about the World Cup as well. The draw is happening later this week, and Jack Milne, 22 years of age, does he have an outside chance of getting into that Scotland squad? He's been pretty good, hasn't he? Commanding figure at the back. I was worried that you were saying let's send a high for me because Aberdeen won. I thought it's really a high, but no, listen, I completely agree. I think it's fair to say that everyone in the country's got one eye on what could potentially be at the summer. You're watching John McGinn in the Premier League, and as a Scotland fan, I think please don't get injured in any given game. And again, I think it's important that we're looking at where can we improve our squad, not only for the World Cup, but moving forward. Yeah. I think Scotland lack a little bit in both boxes, I'd say, at the centre-half position and the striker position.
I think especially you're always looking at what's the next batch coming through, who are the younger players coming through that can potentially replace these guys. And I think Jack Milne for me is certainly one that's caught the eye over the course of the season. I actually thought he was excellent in the Scottish Cup final against Celtic last year, playing the middle of the back three, and I think he's having a really good season for Aberdeen. 22-year-old, starting to get a lot of first team experience. Aberdeen, since they've changed their shape to that back three, they've had a wee upturn in results and performances, and I think Jack Milne's been absolutely integral to that as well. So I think if he continues in the form he is, and listen, you might need a little bit of luck along the way to get yourself in the squad, because Steve Clarke's obviously going to put a lot of trust in the guys that have got him there, and quite rightly so, given how well they've done for the nation. But I think Jack Milne will make it very difficult for him to be ignored if he continues the form he's on.
Jackie, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Any outside players, maybe not involved with Scotland right now, that you think can really make a push between now and the summer for the World Cup squad? Anybody leap to mind?
I think we just tell Milne is one. I think you look at the positions that are a problem for us. The problem is the number 9 area. I think in the last few games, you had Bowie in the different squads there. He started quite well. He's kind of coming off a little bit. Shankland, getting the goal against Denmark. He does what he does, is inside the box. So I think they're the two main areas, and obviously the goalkeeping department as well is a big thing, because Craig, I thought he did well in some of the areas. One of the games, the Greece one, he could have done better. One of the goals, but
you're not going to ruin his fairy tale.
No.
Years of age being Scotland's
he's been a fantastic servant, but he's not played a lot of football.
Sure,
he's not played, and
that's right.
Where he breaks into the Hearts team at this stage, or even the ones that are back up, they're behind him. Bain's been brought into the squad there, obviously having a good season with Falkirk. So I think the spine of the national team, who's leading the line, is important, because I think we've got fantastic midfield. We've got areas there with pace to go and hurt teams, but it's so important that the ball sticks up there for the midfielders to support and get up behind them.
It's very exciting. The Scottish Cup draw is on Friday. We've just done the Scottish Cup draw. It's a World Cup draw coming up on Friday. We'll have a special programme for that on BBC Scotland on Friday night, 7:10, segueing neatly into our live championship coverage. But you know what? I think it's probably time we went home. Jackie, Andy, agree?
I'm looking forward to something to eat.
We've been starving you here at the BBC studios. Thanks very much, guys. Hugely enjoyable. Remember, the Scottish Football Podcast is with you bright and early every day. Make sure you don't miss out. Subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on in your phone. Scottish football, the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks for listening.
For everything you need to know about your team this season, download the BBC Sport app. All the latest news, goal updates, stats and scores, and insight and analysis. Just select your club to get the biggest stories and best content at your fingertips. What a result. Download the BBC Sport app for everything you need to know about your team this season.